We have a very arrogant, entitled nation, on average. And we're becoming like backward third world corrupt societies where people just have a laissez-faire, so what attitude about corruption. People think corruption's cute, like they do in North Korea or Mexico. And bottom line, our Anglo-Saxon Magna Carta, the common law that was the best in the world, is gone. It's down the toilet. And that's what protects everybody from tyranny. You remove checks and balances, you will be raped, you will be robbed, you will be looted 100% of the time. And as bad as you think government is now, openly violating the Constitution from one end to the other, all you fake Republicans loved it when George Bush was doing it. You felt like you were personally winning, that your team was having a victory. Now all these Obama people, they think they're winning. They're suddenly supporting it. You're all a bunch of suckers. All right, coming up, the healthcare situation and a lot more. Right now, let's go to the calls. Devin in Kansas. Thanks for holding, Devin.
Oh, no problem, no problem. First, I want to say it's an honor to talk to you, Mr. Jones. I love what you do, and I love your work. My question for you is a two-part question, actually. How do we, as regular people, American citizens, go about changing things locally in our community, and how do we present information to people who are skeptical about...
Okay, I'll tell you. You walk into city council during your citizens' communications, and you say, wake up. Wake up from the spell. Here's the New York Times. Children are being trained to confiscate veterans' guns. Here's another article. Trillions missing. Federal Reserve won't say where it went. They own both parties. Wake up. America is being robbed. All this stuff you see on TV is nothing but a distraction. Left and right doesn't matter. What matters is an offshore corporate takeover. I'm going to hand out now 100 free copies of Fall of the Republic. And you're authorized to burn copies of them. Just give them to everybody. That film is the best tool out there. Or you can start your own blog, your own website, start calling into talk radio. Everybody doing a little something. Go meet with your sheriff, educate them. Go to your state house, meet with state representatives who are against the New World Order. There's more and more of them. Say, I want to volunteer. I want to help you. I don't want to just go to meetings and drink coffee with you and tell you what you should do. I want to go knock on doors. You know, run for the legislature yourself. Run for city council. You probably won't win the first 2 or 3 times, but if you wear a suit and are well-spoken and stay active, you're going to end up winning, and you're going to be in all those debates and all those discussions, and you're going to wake up the people in your town and your city that are politically active. And you know what? Also, don't have an apologetic attitude like, I know this sounds kooky. You show up and say, I'm in command here. I'm your friend. I'm trying to warn you. I'm giving you some information. I'm authoritative. Okay? Now, you've been warned. I'm leaving. What are you going to do about it? You know, I mean, if you showed up and knocked on somebody's door and said, don't think I'm kooky, but I saw some smoke coming out the back of your house. If there's flames shooting out of every window of a house and the roof's starting to collapse and there's a bunch of idiots inside, I don't come barely knock on the door. I knock on it. If they don't open the door up, I kick it down and I go in and say, get out of here. Get out of here right now. The sucker's coming down. And it's the same thing. You go, look. World government's been announced. We're being looted by foreign banks. You've been incrementally mesmerized into this. It's time to wake up, people. Wake up and remember your humanity. Does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, it did. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Anything else? Did he say no? Thank you. Thank you, Devin. I mean, folks, we have to get a sense of desperation here. We know what's happening. Real tyranny. The real deal. Bad tyranny. We're going to come back and go to Matt, Julio, Thomas, Joe, Alan, Craig, Jim, Michael, and others, and a bunch of other key stuff. My friends, we have been incrementally taught to be lemmings, to be slaves, to bow to government, to bow to office, to bow to uniforms, that's respectful and that's patriotic. That is the opposite of what our founding fathers said. They said that when government becomes destructive of the aims of the Declaration of Independence, it is not just your right, it is your duty to throw it off. Now, this armed camp of criminals that have been amassed against the Republic, they are the revolutionaries. They are the people overthrowing our sound Republic. They got a lot of brainwashed, well-meaning idiots in their ranks. For more than 10 years, they've been quietly brainwashing the Boy Scouts to join the federal and state ranks of the police state. Now the feds are openly federalizing the Boy Scouts and having federalized police departments completely take it over. The children are trained for gun confiscation and to take on the American people. And every time I talk about this, I get moronic emails, people going, well, I'm in the Boy Scouts, or my son is, and we're not doing that. Well, they hadn't got to your town yet, buddy boy. I've got the Associated Press. I've got Reuters. I've got the LA Times. I've got the New York Times saying how great it is that the kids are being trained for gun confiscation. Now, the good news is this does shock Boy Scout groups, because a lot of times they're not really conscious of what's going on because it's such a shocking statement to make. Then they go out and find out it's true and it's really happening. But they find out the media is going, what's the big deal? I mean, it's not just the Boy Scouts. I have local Austin news and local commercials that are run in the public schools in Austin over the TV networks they have, the in-school TV systems. I have a clip of this, actually, in Fall the Republic, my latest documentary film, where it shows the kids and they're offered $200 to turn in family members or anyone else. And there's always a good reason. Oh, yes, the government wants to stop drugs. They ship in while they push legal drugs on your kids, the Prozac and Ritalin. Oh, yes, the terrorism. Oh, yes. Folks, this is a criminal, out-of-control government. You better wake up and admit that to yourselves. But it doesn't matter. A lot of you aren't going to wake up till later. You got to get hurt really bad by the system. And the system knows you're going to wake up and fight them. That's why all their internal reports that we've gotten our hands on that have become national news talk about how much they hate your guts, red-blooded Americans, libertarians, conservatives, true liberals who are anti-war. They hate you. They hate your guns. They hate your private property. And they're not a bunch of dirty-legged hippies. They're hardcore bankers. And they control the issuance of currency and credit. And they know what they're doing, and they've taken down hundreds of third-world countries, and they're taking America down right now as their prize, and they're arrogant, and they're focused, and they've got the police in their back pocket, because the police don't even know what time of day it is, just like the general public, and they are moving ahead with this thing right now. So don't say police and military, you weren't warned. You know everything we see is classical tyranny being set up. All right, I'm going to go to Matt, Julio, Thomas, Joe, Alan, Craig, Jim, Michael, and others. And then coming up, I'm going to get into the health care, and then I'm going to get into Interpol taking over America. I've got the executive order. I saw this last week, and I had to read this over and over again. I just can't believe it. I mean, I know all this is happening. But to give foreign troops or any designate of the United Nations unlimited immunity inside the United... I mean, this is unlimited. You've all read about the UN constantly caught with sex slaves or running drugs or running money laundering ops or running whole jet loads of kidnapped kids. Why do you think the UN's always caught? Because they're the ones that have the diplomatic immunity. They can fly anywhere in the world and can't be searched. How did the UN get this Henry VIII type imperial power? And now they've got the power to run it in America. All I can say is hide your kids. In fact, people won't believe me. Google UN caught running white slavery. In the year 2000 to 2002 alone, the United Nations was caught trafficking over 1 million women and children. BBC 2003 reported that. I mean, they've got operations so big grabbing your kids. They CPS them right out of Europe, Child Protective Services. They're on a jet to one of 24 countries. And they are slaved out. And a lot of times when they hit 25 years old and they 10,000 men have had sex with them. They've had 30, 40 abortions. They've been used up in ways that are so hellish you can't even imagine. They just walk them right out, shoot them in the back of the head, throw them right in a vat of acid. That's how they roll, just massive, massive murder operations. I was walking through a store last week, and there was an ad for Daybreakers. I think that's the name of it. And it was like, oh, the great pharmaceutical company, we're your friend. Come on in. We want your blood. In fact, pull up the trailer for that. And it cut to people just hanging on high-tech meat hooks, having their blood taken for vampires. Ooh, that's so scary. That scares everybody. Meanwhile, the UN's running giant death ops, just grabbing whoever they want. Nobody can stop them, and nobody cares. UN staff accused of raping children in Sudan. That's London Telegraph. That's nothing. Here, show people the actual Google search. I bet there's millions of hits on it.